In the manifestation, law of attraction, reality shifting, quantum leaping world, it is very encouraged to stay positive because your feelings, your belief system, your emotions are creating your reality. However, if you are someone who is used to typically being at a lower vibration or typically having a negative outlook on things, it can be very hard and it can feel very inauthentic to suddenly be positive about everything. And also, it can cause you to start having forced positivity when you really have this underlying belief system, this underlying feeling state that might come from lack or it might come from negativity, but you're forcing yourself to be positive because you think if you act positive, things are going to work out. But it's not about the way you act, it's about what you are. So if you're just starting out with this work, it can be a lot easier to hold the space for neutrality, I think that's the word, than positivity. My favorite example of this is self-talk. I started with, my inner work journey, I started with my self-talk. Many people in the collective, the majority of the collective, don't even realize that their self-talk can be destructive. So if you've noticed that you have negative self-talk, destructive self-talk, try being neutral about yourself. Meaning, say that you don't feel good about your weight. Say you believe that you are too overweight or too underweight. Instead of getting in the mirror and bringing yourself down, complaining about the way you look, insulting yourself, be neutral. Validate your reality. Meaning, when you get in the mirror, say, okay, this is my body, this is where I am, and this is okay. And I can work to improve my body. I can be open to getting to the weight that I desire, or I can stay here. It's all okay. Instead of being disgusted or being ashamed, start to validate your reality, start to validate where you are at, and have a neutral stance about it. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. This not only applies to the people you speak to, but this applies to speaking to yourself. If you're about to speak and what you're speaking isn't good, isn't positive, be quiet. Stay neutral. If you have negative thoughts, neutralize them. So for instance, instead of saying, oh, I should have done this differently, I should have known better than to do this, I regret doing this, instead of beating yourself up, be neutral. Okay, now I know how to approach this in the future. Now I know what to do later on. Now I know what to do if this comes up again. Do not beat yourself up. You don't necessarily have to be positive, for instance, with your body. You don't have to necessarily be overly confident when you're not. So say that you're not at the weight that you like and you're not confident about it. You don't have to act like you're confident. You don't have to act like you're in love with your body if you're truly not, but learn to be neutral about things. You'll start to see that through being neutral, you're actually opening up the space, expanding your container into being able to hold positivity, right? You don't have to go from one end of the stick to the other. But if you gradually move that way through being neutral, you'll find that it will be much easier for you to move into positivity. So let's say that you lose your job and you're feeling distraught about it. Typically, when something negative happens to us, we go through this spiral of creating problems that haven't even happened yet, and we start solving these problems in our minds when they're not even in our reality, and that keeps us stuck in our negativity. So let's say that you got laid off from your job or you lost your job. Instead of going down that spiral of negativity, thinking, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to pay bills? I'm going to be homeless, da, 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 da. Instead of doing that, validate where you are at. Okay, I lost my job and I have this much in my savings, right? So let's say that you have, I don't know, maybe $3,000, $5,000 saved up. If you lose your job and you have a savings, you can think, okay, I have enough money to get me through X amount of months of bills. Okay, you can validate what you're going through, you can validate your experience, but you don't have to get too negative and you don't have to get too positive, meaning you don't have to be like, oh, it's okay, I just lost my job, everything's fine, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire in like 2 days. Like, you don't have to do that if it doesn't feel right for you. If you're at a place where you lose your job and you have enough saved up to keep you afloat for a few months, maybe consider resting. Maybe consider taking that time to relax, because through your rest, through your relaxation, through you recalibrating, resetting yourself, maybe a business idea will come to you, or maybe you will think to apply for a job that hadn't even come to your mind before, and you're making a lot more off this job than you were your previous one. Maybe these ideas will flow to you through your relaxation. And even if this doesn't happen, having rest, so say your rest can be going on a vacation or spending more time in nature, whatever you choose to do, this can be a real recalibration for you to kind of reset yourself and take a different perspective to your problems, to your issues that you're experiencing right now. Let's say that you don't have a savings though and you lose your job. You don't have to go through that negative spiral still, even though you physically don't have the finances to afford your lifestyle. It's important to be solution minded instead of focusing on the problem. When you focus on the problem, you create more of the problem. When you seek solutions, you will find solutions. So maybe you can start that side hustle you've been wanting to start. Maybe you can go do like a volunteer thing in another country. Maybe you can go off the grid. Maybe now that you lost your job, you can go apply for your dream job because you have nothing holding you back, right? You want to make sure that you're starting to be solution minded instead of focusing on the problem. So by not focusing on the problem, I'm not saying to ignore it or to act like nothing's happening. I also teach feminine energy, and a big thing I talk about is letting the emotion run through your body and then pivoting, right? So say something very drastic, very devastating has happened, or it doesn't even have to be drastic or devastating. Even it could be minor. Let that feeling that you're feeling in the moment run through your body, whether that is anger, whether that is sadness, whether that is disappointment. You want to let it run through your body. You want to allow yourself to experience that emotion so it doesn't get trapped, because trapped emotions turn into trauma. So yes, let it run through your body and then switch back to your solution mindset. Okay, what can I do right now to raise my vibration? And by raise your vibration, you don't have to raise it to positivity if it doesn't feel comfortable for you to be a positive person, but you do want to raise it to being neutral. You want to get out of that low, down vibration, and you want to raise it to at least being neutral. So maybe for you that looks like getting into meditation. Maybe that looks like going for a walk and activating your senses. A lot of times we go for walks to think, oh, we're going to go for a walk, it's going to calm us down, but we are still fast paced. We are not taking in the moment. The point of the walk is to ground yourself, to be present. So when you're walking quickly, when you're focusing on getting to the end of the trail, you're not being present and you're defeating the purpose. So what I mean by activating your senses is literally, what does the air feel like? How does the breeze feel? What are you hearing? Do you hear birds chirping? Do you hear cicadas? What are you hearing? Do you hear the trees rustling? Are you hearing the trees? What do you see? Do you see birds flying around? Do you see butterflies? Like, really start to activate your senses, and you'll notice that you start to slow down, like your walking pace starts to slow down, and you are becoming more present, and you are neutralizing your energy, your vibration, your feeling safe by coming back and being present. So anytime that you feel like you're in a negative feeling state, or you feel that you're about to project negativity over yourself, over your life, remember that our words are spells. And if you have nothing nice to say, shut your mouth and get out of your problems and start to strategize how to get into a solution. Start to strategize, okay, I might be less than neutral right now. How can I get to being neutral? You don't always have to aim for being the happiest person in the world. You don't always have to aim for being extremely positive, but how can you at least be neutral so that you are level-headed, that you are seeing things clearly, and so that you are not projecting negativity over your life, so that you're not cursing yourself with your words, so you are not destroying your self-esteem, so you are not destroying your intuition. Because say that your intuition is telling you to do something, but you speak negatively about your inspired actions and how they won't work out for you. Your intuition then does not feel safe, and it will no longer come out. Just being neutral will transform your life. When you mindfully start to become neutral, you will notice how negative you are being. Do not allow yourself to sit in your negativity. Like I said earlier, if you are feeling an emotion, yes, let it run through your body, but do not sit there. Do not feed that emotion. You want to starve negativity, and you want to feed into neutrality and even positivity. Let's say you have a very, very strong desire, and your negativity is coming up saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it through this way, so it's not going to happen, right? Instead of going down that road, if it feels comfortable for you, poke a hole in that story. Is this the only option? Is this the only place that I can get it from? Or are there other doorways open for God to deliver this desire to me? A lot of the time, we believe that we can only get one thing through a certain way. For instance, I just recently got a MacBook, and I've been wanting a MacBook for a while. And commonly, you would think that you can only get a MacBook if your income increases. So I've really opened myself up to receiving in any and all ways. Not so much just closing it off to my income needs to increase. Not saying that it won't happen, but if you are focusing on your income increasing to receive your desire, you're closing the doors for your desire to come in any other way. What if that desire would have came to you through winning a giveaway? What if that desire would have came to you through somebody buying it for you? What if that desire would have came to you through a Christmas gift, a birthday gift, right? So when you focus on one thing and you're not open to receiving in any and all ways, you are closing every other doorway for that desire to come to you. So with my MacBook, instead of thinking, oh, I don't know I'm going to afford this right now, this buy isn't the smartest, this isn't the smartest investment, maybe I should just fix my computer, I focused on, no, this is my desire, I'm worthy, I get to have it. I know this is kind of getting more into positivity, but you got to get there at some point. You can't stay neutral your whole life. It's boring. But instead of thinking that way, I opened myself up to literally receiving it in all ways. And I ended up receiving it in a way that I hadn't even imagined. When you stop closing yourself off to your desires by being limited in your thinking, I guess this is kind of being neutral, because you're not so much focused on one thing or the other. You're just saying, okay, I want this desire and it can come to me in any way. I don't care. That can still, I guess, be neutral. When you do that, you'll notice that you are now able to receive your desire in a way that you hadn't even imagined, that you hadn't even thought of. Doing this will also cause you to get a lot more in touch with your body, because you can literally feel when you have negative thoughts running through your body. You can literally feel when you're at a low vibration, when you're at a state of lack. So when you feel this, start to think, how can I get neutral? How can I get to this level? I'm at a 1 right now, maybe. How can I get to a 5? How can I even get to a 6? And as you hold that container for being at a 5, being at a 6, being neutral, not really caring, you'll notice that it is a lot easier to, okay, maybe I can move up to a 7, maybe an 8, maybe a 9. And before you know it, you're the most positive person in your friend's life, in your family's life.